So a different topic.
This has been a long time coming, man. I was trying to figure out when we first talked about doing a podcast. We were definitely still working at
Nextel.
That telecom. Can we say that?
Are we they're not a company, so
well, yeah, they're not a company, but
Sprint owns the trademark.
Yeah.
You can talk about a company. You can't.
Well, yeah. So I guess here's my concern, right? So even with so I just went through this corporate training thing at my current company, and part of our agreement to work here is that I'm not allowed to say fuck on the internet. I'm not. I can't. Like I can't cuss on Facebook. I can't cuss on Instagram. I can't cuss on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they are. It's very totalitarian, and so I've obviously, of course,
because
they're not out there to try to find.
When it's not branded to them matters to anybody, right?
Right. Well, I think that's the point, right? I think they're trying to make the company policies as wide as they can, so that if they want to fire me or fire someone for slandering the company, they can just hit you with everything in the book. Because I mean, they don't give a shit. I haven't even said the name of my company, and I don't plan to, because I went on Facebook and removed all of the references to my company. My job history isn't on there anymore. My school history isn't on there anymore. And I don't have that information on anywhere else either. So, because I went and deleted it. So, and I did that because I don't want my company to end up tracking it down somewhere and then me get in trouble at work for saying fuck on the internet. It's wild.
It's actually pertinent for a company not to be associated with somebody's opinions on the internet. So if you do have the company you work for listed on your Facebook profile or SoundCloud profile or LinkedIn or wherever, and somebody can track that down and go, hey, so-and-so employee is a racist, so the whole company must be racist.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a BS argument. We all know it is, but when the lawyers hear that, they shit their pants.
Yeah, well, but I mean, really, they don't care. It's that public perception,
right?
They don't, my company doesn't want to be associated. My company doesn't want people to think that they're associated with racists. I know for a fact there are racists that work at this company because I talk to them every day. Like these, I know.
But the company doesn't want it to be known that there are racists that work there, or that they tolerate that behavior, and they may not tolerate the behavior within the company business and what it can do, but it can't monitor what people do in their private lives. A company just can't. It doesn't have that reach.
I mean, you say that, but people get fired for the stuff they say on Facebook all the time.
That's true.
And, but the thing is, though, somebody works at, I don't know, Pizza Hut or Five Guys or something, and they say, working at Pizza Hut is slave labor and I hate my boss, or whatever it is they say some shit, and then Pizza Hut, somebody, replies and does and tags Pizza Hut in it. And then next thing you know, the person that was just complaining about a shitty work day and a shitty boss just got fired.
Okay. And real quick, let me just take a moment to recognize this is perfect for a different topic, because our planned topic out of the gate was, let's talk about how we're going to set up this podcast.
And but then in the talking points you sent me, it was like, here, I'm going to scroll back to it because I think it's pertinent. It was, oh man, okay, that's taking a second.
Do we live in
artificial intelligence, the universe, a universe beyond the oldest light we can see do we live in a simulation?
Yeah. And
then here we are talking about corporate politics.
But it's a different topic.
Yeah.
So
what a great name. I think you're the one that came up with the name.
Right.
And I don't remember where I was. I don't remember where we had that conversation, but I definitely remember the feeling of what a fucking great name for a podcast. I mean, it can't. There isn't a better one.
I think it was over the wall of our cubicles when we sat across from each other.
Across from each other? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, John, what about a different topic? Because we were trying to come up with an idea for a podcast actively. You know, back in 2008, when
10 years
podcasts were actually a thing. Now the devices that it's named after is not even I don't think Apple makes an iPod anymore.
Do they
I
not?
may be wrong. I don't think they make an iPod anymore.
I think they do.
They might. I might be wrong.
I'm looking it up. I'm going right now. You can't stop me. So at the time, apple.com, we've got Mac, iPad, iPhone, watch. Let's go to music.
It's probably their
AirPods.
Apple Store.
Okay, here we go. iPod Touch.
Okay, they do still have an iPod
they do.
Touch?
These are brand new. They got a camera on them. It's an iPhone.
Yeah, it's an iPhone
A8.
without the cellular radio.
You know, I'll bet you it has a cellular radio, though. I bet you it's in
It's
there.
an iPhone that they just disabled it in the software.
They just software disabled it. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be truly.
Yeah, I mean, this is great. It's an A8 chip, 8 megapixel camera. You got a bunch of color options to choose from, and it's probably $4,000. Fucking Apple.
Because it's an Apple, yeah.
God, I hate Apple so much.
Well, you know, my stepdad just totally an Apple fanboy. And we'll sit there and talk for an hour about back and forth about how he's on the side of Apple's the greatest, and I'm on the side of Apple is just another device. They're not innovative. They're not the greatest.
Well, and so I mean, I'm totally with you on they're not innovative. If anyone ever listens to this, it's going to piss somebody off to hear me say that, but they're not.
Yeah,
innovative.
no matter what you do on that argument, though, you're going to piss somebody off.
Yeah, the thing that gets me about Apple is their pricing model is crazy. There are comparable devices made by all manner of manufacturers that don't cost anywhere near the same amount of money. And in fact, I've got a Pixel 2 XL as my mobile device, and it was expensive, but I feel like it's only expensive because Apple has set the bar so high. Nobody's competing to bring those prices down. There aren't enough manufacturers out there.
No, and there's a good reason why Apple is the first company ever to have like $1 billion in cash reserves too. I mean,
yeah, but it was a hell of a lot more than $1 billion. The number I heard, this was years ago, they had like 16 billion in cash just laying around.
Right, just doing nothing with
Apple cash on hand 2019.
Like they can't spend their profits, and they're not turning around and giving it to the shareholders. As of November
of this year, November 2018, Apple had $237.1 billion in cash. I don't even. That's an unconscionable amount of money. Just having that much cash, like you could buy countries.
Yeah, and so I'm not a left leaning person by any stretch of the imagination. I don't lean far right either. I'm pretty much in the center. I was watching this show that typically is a little bit on the left, but it was mentioning those numbers, and even as somebody who embraces capitalism and thinks that companies should maybe not have as many restrictions on them in many cases, that's just stupid to me. It's if you've got that much cash on hand, you're not servicing your shareholders the way you should be, and you're obviously doing something way shady in what you're providing. You're way overcharging for your services or products.
Well, so I don't agree with the overcharging thing, just because things are only valued as much as people are willing to pay for them. So if I go and I manufacture a phone,
overcharging, but
if I manufacture
less.
a new mobile device I say it's $2,000 to buy it, and people buy it by the millions, then that's what it's worth.
I can't blame the company for doing that, though. I can only blame the consumers that are buying a device for $2,000 that is only really intrinsically worth $700 or whatever it costs, plus a reasonable markup.
Something I think people have kind of lost focus on is that these devices are computers now. Like I had the second iPhone. I think I had the second generation iPhone. This is my first iPhone, and it was mostly a phone. I guess not mostly a phone, but it was less of a computer. You do less with a second gen iPhone.
Was that one of the iPhones that still couldn't text message too well?
I don't recall having text message problems with it.
Maybe it was not text message, but multimedia messaging that the first couple of generations couldn't do. There were memes about it. I don't know. I never owned an iPhone, so I don't know.
All of the people that I involved myself with like text messaging and stuff also had iPhones, so I may have been insulated from any of those problems, because I don't know when Apple released iMessage, but if you're going Apple device to Apple device, it doesn't use SMS.
Okay, see, that is the biggest thing that annoys me with Apple, is the closed ecosystem. And so many Apple people are like, well, my iPhone is the greatest and everybody has one. No, everybody doesn't have one. Right. The world market estimations for device adoption put Android anywhere from 65 to 88%. And that means that in the world, Apple is not the leader. In the US, it's been historically 50-50. And yet you have a bunch of people in a company who have a closed ecosystem. And then when I don't have an Apple device and you send a message and you're like, oh, poo-poo on you, you don't have an Apple device. Why didn't you get my iMessage the way I intended it? Well, it's not my fault. It's because Apple has their crap closed off and I can't download iMessage for an Android.
Yeah, exactly. So I just pulled it up, and this is a graph from 2012 until April of 2018. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, May. Goes through May. Oh, wow. This is all jacked up. It's June. Sorry. So it goes all the way to June. So it's January from 2012 to June 2018. And there's some interesting things here. Currently, the share difference is 54% Android, 44% iOS.
Is that in the US or is that worldwide?
Subscriber shows how the smartphone US.
Right.
So, as it stands, according to this from Statista.com.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah, you have to pay to really get the numbers off of it.
Go into the detail. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way, I guess what I'm getting at is the most recent stat I see is that Android actually has the larger market share. But something that's neat about this, the Apple market share has basically not changed. It's not trending up or down, but the Android one is trending up, which tells me that the total number of people with devices is increasing and new adopters are getting Androids.
But you can't convince Apple fanatics about that.
Well,
I'm just saying.
I mean, I haven't vetted this. I don't know anything about this. I don't know where they got their data, but numbers don't lie. Like when you look at this and assuming that they, get their numbers from reliable sources and so on.
And there's no guarantee about that. I've seen the same statistics that say that Apple has like 75% market share in the US. I tend to believe a website that's called what is it? Statista? Yeah, it's Statista.
Or Statista, whatever.
Whatever. I tend to believe that more than an Apple blog that pulls a number up from such and such source.
Yeah.
But still, the numbers vary from source to source. And it's really kind of hard to say because even Android or Alphabet Inc. admitted not too long ago that the worldwide numbers were showing at like 85 or 88% or something like that. And that they were saying that number is probably up to 20% inflated because of devices that have dropped off but are still counted, or secondary devices or things like that.
Right. That makes sense. So I just found another one from Device Atlas. And it looks like this is kind of their job. What they do is compare.
But you can never be sure if they're in the pocket of one of the.
Of course, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just was curious what another source said.
Right.
And they have very similar numbers. It looks like, or no, these are backwards. This tells the exact opposite story.
Yeah,
iOS increasing and Android decreasing. This is okay. So welcome to a different topic, everybody. I'm about to change the subject. So this bothers me so much, man. And I'm gonna, I don't know yet how I feel about sharing my own political views, and like whether I did or didn't vote for Trump, or whether I do or don't like him.
Yeah, we're gonna try not to do that so much here.
I want to stay as objective as possible and try not to lead people in a certain direction, which honestly probably shows my left lean. but not to say that right leaning people aren't reasonable. There's this thing that bothers me. It's possible that this problem has existed ever since humans have existed, or at least since media has existed. The problem that I'm having, and a major driver for me, I've completely stopped reading the news and watching the news, because I feel like they're all lying to me, and there's no way for me to test one against the other. For example, there may be on MSNBC, they may be covering a story, and it sounds like holy shit, this is a big deal. Like, there's corruption in the White House and somebody's going to go to prison. And you go to Fox News and they're reporting on some adorable cat video. And so because they're biased to not show bad news about the right. Whereas MSNBC is the other way around. They're not going to give us bad news about the left. So you end up you have to record Fox News, watch MSNBC live for one whole cycle, and then watch yesterday's Fox News to get both sides of the story. And even then, they've conflated or deflated or inflated the facts to the point where you can't identify what's true. So I can't trust them at all. I can't even spend the time. I don't have time to do that. Nobody does, unless you're an analyst.
Well,
but even the analysts
I find
are
myself
all over the fucking
having to consult charts of where on the political spectrum news outlets are biased towards. And not only that, again, the charts are not in agreement. It depends on what source you get the charts from as to whether Fox News is like so far right they want to have everybody in handcuffs all the time just to keep them in line, or just a little right of the center. I mean, it's crazy how different something that should be a somewhat objective subject should be, and how different you find it on charts. It's all depending on how you want to format the data.
Right.
But
yeah, it's the correlation isn't causation argument, but blown up into much more important things than just correlation causation. Well, I can't think of a good example for that right now, but
let's take a hard swing off of that topic.
Merchandise.
Merchandise. No.
Have you ever needed a shirt? adifferenttopic.com/merch. I'm just kidding. That doesn't even exist.
Do you write on things? Use a different topic pin. A different topic.com/merch. Now we're going to have to set up a merch store. And no. We set up a merch store and have nothing but BS shit in it. Just for days. Nothing anybody would ever want to use. Like a different topic shot glass.
Oh, man. There's stuff on a different topic right now.
What?
It's videos of your kids.
How?
You remember this? You posted videos. You were testing Vimeo as a plugin.
Oh, we still have a
This
different
is
topic.
so old, man. Ethan is so small. I mean, your son. Do you want your kids' names on here? One of your sons. I'll bleep it out.
A bit late now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can edit it out.
That's again. I think that should be a goal. As little editing as possible.
Yeah.
Holy crap! Yeah, we do have. It was I don't even know what this was based off of. But yeah, Vimeo. I'm having to click to enable Adobe Flash Player in Chrome.
This was just a test of different video plugins.
Yeah.
That's what you're
VO
doing.
and Vimeo, because we didn't want to rely on YouTube.
Yeah, which is funny because now we're starting 2 YouTube channels at the same time.
Only 2?
Is it more than 2?
Well, this is going to be at least partially on YouTube.
Isn't this the second one?
Well, what about Dear John and your replies?
I thought that was just going to be your personal thing. So I guess
it is
4 YouTube channels.
Yeah.
We've got Remedy Arcade. We've got a different topic, and then your channel where you're doing the Dear John thing, and then my channel where I'm doing the responses.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, which is actually the topic I was trying to veer into. So we're planning on putting this on YouTube in a format that is mostly audio, either a placeholder image or a constant looping image.
Yeah. I have some ideas on that too.
Okay. And then do we want to try and enlist like a podcast service to offer it on like Apple
like Stitcher
and other
or
Mediafly, any of them? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
I don't know if there's a cost involved in that, but that's something we need to find out.
Sounds like a great idea. I nominate you.
You nominate me, okay?
Yeah, I've got my hands full with Remedy Arcade. How about you? You be the manager for
a different topic.
Yeah, and I'll be the manager for Remedy Arcade. I mean, this is really your podcast anyway. I mean, I'm just
okay.
This is your thing. I'm just your co-host.
Sure, a different topic with Mike Holmes starring John Dirtman.
Sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay. I will never put that down in a title card.
Okay. I mean, if you want it to be a 50-50 thing, I'm down.
I'm good with this being 50-50.
Well, all right then. A different topic with Mike and John.
Yeah.
In every other episode, we could switch the order.
With John and Mike.
Yeah.
A good question is, how are we going to title these? Is it just going to be a different topic, episode 1?
Like episodes? I mean, shit, I don't know. Sure.
The first topic?
The first topic?
The second?
It's actually not a bad idea. Of course, we might have to, for that to work semantically, we might have to keep track of all the topics we use in a particular episode, you know? So, like, we hit 15 topics in one episode.
No.
A different topic, episode 1, topics 1 through 12.
Yeah, no. The first episode would be the first topic, and it just 80 billion topics in. It's like, wait, did they just say one topic?
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I could go either way there.
Or we could go a different topic on the topic of podcasts.
Sure.
Or streamcasts, or whatever you want to call them. Podcast is
that what they're calling them nowadays?
Stream? No, I don't know. I think they're still calling them podcasts.
Let's see. There's an Urban Dictionary entry for streamcasting, a radio show that can be heard on iHeartRadio as well as the internet at the same time. A radio show that streams online as well as a podcast. So streamcasting, okay, I see. So what we're doing right now is technically podcasting because we're not live
yet.
Right. Well, I mean, right now. That's why I said right now.
Yeah, right now we're not live.
Episode 2, maybe we're live on YouTube. That might be fun.
Yeah,
Dude, that would be fun. We need
that
to
would
do
be
that.
fun.
Because I bet you we'd get like one person, and that one person we could talk to them and just be like, "Yo, I see you. I see you lingering in
We
chat."
see you in the chat room.
Cool.
So what was your idea on the video background portion?
Oh, just there are some pretty robust like stock loop videos online.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was thinking about going through and doing like grab one and then make some changes to it. Because I'm learning my way through After Effects, where most of these things are built. So, go grab some prefab thing that exists out there that's already kind of cool, and then make some changes that make sense for us. We have a problem with the podcast, the same problem with podcasts that we do with Remedy Arcade. We don't have all of this is still so new. We don't yet have graphics or, really any
I'm
content
okay
yet.
with that though. As far as
Yeah, it's stressing me out though. For Remedy Arcade anyway, I'm stressed out about it.
well, as far as for a podcast though, I mean the content is primarily audio. So
Right.
if we don't have that strong of a graphics package right now, we can build that and that's fine.
Yeah.
As far as a different topic goes. Now on Remedy Arcade, that's a very visual endeavor, and
Right.
I understand you want to have everything cohesive.
Yeah.
And I'm good with that.
I like the idea of being able to iterate, and say episode 1, maybe it's the first like 4 weeks are kind of bare bones, but past that kind of, getting better incrementally. And I like the freedom of that, but I don't like the way that looks,
Right.
I would love to have super deep pockets that I could just go in and the day we release our first episode, we've got this epic, like pixel art animated intro that's got custom music and
that comes on our 8th project when we already have an audience built.
Yeah, exactly.
And every time we mutter
I'd
something,
love to start that way,
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find ways to keep myself from getting lost in that and not be sad or disappointed in what we are able to put out. And we'll see. It's just I'm trying to temper my expectations, I guess.
well, there's tempering expectations, and then there's tamping down the creative spirit. And we've really got to balance that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's really hard not to drive over to your house 2 hours away and go, okay, let's record some shit. I don't care if the background's messed up. We got to
Right.
record some shit and put it out because that was fun and it was good. And everybody
Yeah.
I showed was like, hey, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, we definitely have a good base. I think just getting started is going to be a matter of just getting momentum, because we have the setup clearly worked, and I showed you the little solo shopping adventure I did on PSN. Like
Yeah.
I was able to get all the audio worked. I got the game audio and the mic audio. Like I got the video. It's all editable. It's all individual. I've got, it's great. It's exactly what we want, exactly what we need. And now,
Well, I mean, I want floating heads, and I haven't seen you do that yet. Jesus, John.
yeah, sorry. So, what? So seriously, no, that's a good point. I did do some experimenting with that, but I ended up getting caught up on trying to just blend the videos correctly.
Uh-huh.
And then I kind of ran out of time when, we're also building a house and trying to close and trying to pack and trying to move on top of trying to start a YouTube channel and work.
Stupid
40 or
work
50 hours a
and life and wife and kids and can't we just do content?
Right. So it's just, I just haven't gotten around to it. I do want to get, I've had it in and out of my shopping cart on Amazon. They have these like 5 by or 6x4, something like that, green screen panels that are green on one side, blue on the other. And they're real easy to break down. You can just like twist them and they shrink down into a little compact thing, become a little case.
Oh, so they're like the twisty tints or
yeah. The reviews aren't great, but I was thinking we could start with that and just get one and try the floating head idea that you had,
right?
And see how it works. And if it works out well, then just buy a second one, and then Bob's your uncle. We got it. But those particular breakdown things were like $35 or $40, and I can get a huge like 9x7 green screen for the same price. So
then it makes sense to get the large one, because I mean,
I don't know. I don't know.
You can do other
we
things
would be able
with
to
it,
cover. Excuse me. We'd be able to. Whoa, my voice sounds totally different now. We'd be able to. With the big one, it's half the price, but it covers both of us.
Right.
And so that's great, but we lose some versatility. Those smaller ones mean we don't even have to be in the same house, to make that work.
But I don't have a video camera. You have a video camera. I have a DSLR.
Yeah. I know. I'm just saying, we get some, we would obviously be in the same house, but using one of the big green screens would mean that we would have to be sitting right next to each other. And with the individual screen, we'd be able to have our own lights instead of trying to light two people with the same light sources. You could have your own light. I could have my own light. We could be separated. Less mic bleed. Yeah. So I really like that idea. I'm kind of torn on which thing to get, and I think I'm probably going to end up getting one of the individual green screen, the green on one side, blue on the other. Just get one of those to experiment with, and then we'll go from there. Because I wouldn't mind having that, because I'm going to have some solo content on Remedy Arcade anyway. So I'm not going to need a big 6x9 green screen behind me to do those.
Just wait until we're running a whole production company and Remedy Arcade is just one of our channels.
That would be amazing. I would love that.
But for right now, it's Remedy Arcade, Dear John, and a different topic. So
yeah. Do you want the Dear John thing to be to like be its own channel, and I could post my responses on that channel too?
Not yet.
No.
Maybe in the future, but right now, I want it to be. It's somewhat planned, and there's bits and there's some things that are planned, but it's also organic, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So it really is a letter of, I don't know if love is the correct term. I guess it is. It's platonic love to you. Oh.
I'm so warm and fuzzy inside.
So, a different topic.
Sure. I feel bad, man. So my day, let me just give you a little snippet about how my day went. This is why we got started late.
Well, nobody knows we got started late, though.
Well, I know, but they do now.
Oh yeah, they do now.
So we got up this morning, just a totally great normal day. And I'm trying to figure out this remote desktop thing that I was describing to you. So not that anyone will ever listen to this particular podcast, but I'll explain it anyway. For my channel, Remedy Arcade, on which Mike is heavily involved, I'm also building a house, and we're dedicating a room to that project. And that room will be right next to the office that I'll be working from, because I work from home full time. So
how many rooms do you have in this new house?
4. So we got one for my daughter, one for my home office, one for the studio, and then the master.
So half of your house is going to be dedicated to
me,
to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does Kat feel about that? Wait, should I say?
It's her idea, actually.
Okay. Should I say her name on here?
Uh,
I mean,
I don't see why not.
okay. I mean, you said Ethan's name, so
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. I don't know if we should talk about this stuff or not.
no.
I'm on the fence. Either way, so yeah, so I've got a home office, and then the next room over is the room that I'm planning to use for the YouTube stuff for the Remedy Arcade channel.
Uh huh.
And you can probably hear it if I stop talking. You can probably hear my computer whining in the background. It's a water cooled machine. I've got probably more fans in it than it needs, but as a result, it's loud, and so that's a problem for recording audio. So it occurred to me that since the rooms are adjoining in the new house, I could, hypothetically run cables through the wall and use like a KVM switch or something to move the control from one room to the other, and just leave this loud ass computer in my office where I'm not doing recording work. And so that was kind of the plan. And then in talking to Mike and talking to another friend of ours, we kind of came up with this idea of using remote desktop, and it just happens to be that I have an unused Raspberry Pi. So I was thinking this morning, I was like, I'm going to run out, I'm going to go grab an extra keyboard and a mouse, a new SD card, and come home, install an operating system, get the RDP thing set up, and just go ahead and do it. It sounded like something I could do relatively quickly.
Is that after I sent you the
podcast.
links to it? Is that going off of the links I sent you, or?
No, actually, I saw the links after I got back.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was good timing.
Yeah.
So what happened though was I went to Best Buy, where I don't normally go for computer equipment, because I just needed a shitty USB keyboard and mouse. That's it.
It's a Raspberry Pi. Why are you going to put
Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need, $150 keyboard, with mechanical switches and shit. Like I just need a keyboard and mouse. And a friend of mine who is running a YouTube channel called Clearance Isle. He plays Fortnite and teaches people how to win. Great channel, check it out.
Wait, clearance or clearance aisle?
Clearance Isle.
Clearance aisle. I think you told me about this before, but
he's a good guy, man. In fact, we're gonna have him on, or I'm gonna have him on as a guest on Remedy Arcade. He's a beer connoisseur and has a big beer collection, and
you were telling me about him. Yeah,
part of Bottle Shares and stuff. And yeah, he's a cool dude. It'll be good guest to have. But anyway, so I have 3 keyboards and 3 mice in my house. I lent him my spare keyboards and mice because he is experimenting with using the new keyboard and mouse setup on the Xbox One. And because now it's universally accessible now. Like you can use a keyboard and mouse with just about any game on the Xbox. So he didn't have a keyboard and mouse. He wanted to try it. I lent him some hardware. So I don't have any extras. So this morning when I needed an extra, I was like, screw it. I'll just run to Best Buy real quick. I'll grab a shitty one, bring it home and slap it in, call it a day. Well, I get home, and while I was gone, I also picked up lunch. So I get home. We've got delicious Chinese food. I pull the keyboard box out of the bag from Best Buy, and it's fucking wireless. The keyboard and the mouse are both wireless.
I mean,
and I'm like,
is that a
I don't
problem?
know. Yeah, because this Raspberry Pi doesn't have any software on it. It's brand new.
Yeah, but if it's the adapter that shipped with the keyboard and mouse, it should be prepared and shouldn't really need any software.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was in my head. I needed a wired one. I didn't investigate. So I was like, shit, I'm kind of running out of time. I scarf some food down, get back in my car, drive over to Best Buy, swap it out, get a new one, come back. By then it was 20 minutes until we were supposed to get together. And so, my wife and daughter are trying to take a nap, and I'm trying to like be quiet, running around the house and get my audio stuff set back up and all that. It was a pretty stressful time. So that's why I was late.
Okay.
I feel like that was going to
I'll
tell
give you
you
a pass this time.
So let me tell you about what my experience about getting my car out of the garage. This is an ongoing problem in this house. So we have a 1-car garage because this house didn't have a garage when it
Where?
was
Oh,
originally
it must
built.
be in the back.
Yeah, it's in the back.
Okay, because
So
I didn't
this-
see it when I was at your house recently.
Yeah, so this house was built almost 100 years ago, and we're renting right now because we had to pay a whole bunch of money to repair the house that we owned, and we repaired it and sold it, and then we didn't, because we blew all our cash on the repairs and stuff, so we didn't have enough money to buy another house immediately, so we ended up having to rent. So here we are renting this house. It's like 1,200 square feet. It's way too small for us. And it's got this single car garage. The single car garage is behind a gate. And my dog has taken to not liking to shit in the grass. He only shits in the driveway. And he only shits directly in the line of the passenger side tires of my car. So anytime I need to leave the house. Oh, and then my next door neighbor refuses to help us at all here. And our landlord refuses to help us at all here. Our next door neighbor's garage door opener opens and closes our garage door.
What?
Our garage door, the machine is not reprogrammable. It's super old. So I can't go change the code. I'm not going to go replace it. It's not, this isn't my house. This
Right.
I'm renting, and my landlord won't fix it. Our next door neighbor won't change his code, even though he can. I can see the machine in his garage clearly. It's brand new. It's fairly new. It's new enough that he would be able to change the code. So he's not working with us. So I have to leave the power turned off to the entire garage. So if I want to leave, I have to literally shovel dog shit off the driveway, open the gate, turn the power onto the garage, back my car out, close the garage door, get out of my car, go back into the garage, turn the power off, get in my car, pull out of the gate. And if my wife is staying home, I then have to get out of my car, go close the gate so she can let the dog out, and then I can leave. When I come back, I have to do all of that shit in reverse.
So easy mode.
It sucks. It's miserable. So here I am, I went through all of that this morning. And, when you're shoveling shit, it gets on the shovel. So I have to wash the shovel off. Like I have to spray off the shovel. So it's like I have to manipulate dog crap every time I want to move my car in or out of the garage. So I had to do that this morning. And did all that, got my keyboard, and it turned out to be the wrong fucking keyboard.
God. That's, I feel for you.
Thank you.
Did my levels just suddenly drop?
No,
Okay.
not for me. Did you go suddenly deaf? Are you taking Cialis? Do you need to call a doctor?
Is that a side effect of Cialis?
I think so. Isn't that what they say on the channel, on the commercials? It's like, if you have sudden hearing loss or fainting or whatever.
Well, I've not really paid that much attention to Cialis commercials, but wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure it is. Let's see. I'm looking up.
Drug side effects. They're a bitch.
Let's see. Erectile dysfunction. Pill
And boom,
side
you
effects.
suddenly have a mailbox full of spam that your spam filter doesn't filter.
On. I use incognito mode. Dangerous drops in blood pressure, sudden hearing loss, blindness, heart attack, stroke, arrhythmia, congestive heart failure. Yeah. This shit's dangerous, man.
Yeah, but
Headache,
you get
muscle aches,
hard.
heartburn, diarrhea, visual changes, hearing loss, facial flushing. That's difficult. Those words are hard to say together. Nasal congestion and long-lasting erection. That's the point.
Yeah, that's a side effect. Is well, it's like the nausea medicines that one of the side effects is nausea.
Oh, yeah.
Or drowsiness medications that the side effect is restless sleeping and insomnia.
Yeah, funny how that works.
Well, and part of it is all of that. They have to list any side effects that have a certain percentage of chance of happening, right?
Yeah.
So that percentage of chance may be 5% before they have to list it as a side effect. I don't know, maybe. Anyways, if that's the case, say they tried it on 300 people and 3 people showed the effect, and it's a 1% chance of the side effect. But, if it affects 0.5% of people, you have to list it. Then that's not really likely to affect most of the people. It only affects 1%, but it's still a side effect. Yeah, you got to report it. But they don't tell you what the percentage is, the chance that you're part of the population that this side effect would affect, because the side effect isn't the chances that it will happen to you if you take it today or tomorrow, or that it'll happen 5% of the time when you take it. It's
right.
If you take it, it'll happen every time because you're part of this percentage of the population with this gene mutation that it affects in that way.
Right.
So the side effects sound really bad, really severe, and all the time, one of the side effects that's most common on all the medication is death.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm not going to take a hard-on pill that's going to kill me. But it's not like I run 2% chance of dying off of a Cialis every time I take a Cialis. No, I didn't die the first time I took it, so I'm okay. I don't have to worry about that side effect.
Right. Yeah. It's funny how that works, because, there's, I don't remember which comic it was. Some stand-up comic made the joke that he gets out there and he sees these people and he's like, there's like 5,000 of you here. Statistically, some of you are going to die on your way home tonight. And it was funny, but it's true. Like that, you take any number of people, you put them together, there's a likelihood that some of those people will be dead in the next 24 hours. And so when you're taking these pills and trying to figure out what your statistics for death side effect might be, you're taking into account the fact that these people might actually die anyway.
Right.
So like if there's a, whatever the number is, if there's like a 1% chance that somebody in this test group is going to die, and then someone, like, I need to see a higher than that percentage to know that the drug might be involved somehow in these people's deaths.
And then
I said that authoritatively, but I'm not actually sure that's how that works.
No, well, I think it is. I've spoke authoritatively on my side of the topic, but I think it's how it works. And, you're right. There's always a chance that, like, somebody will suddenly their face will start flushing, and the medication had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But how do you determine that it was the medication that did it and not? I mean, and how big is the study sample? I mean, for FDA regulations, I would hope that it has to be a huge number of people. But if it's a huge number of people, where are all these people that are taking these test drugs all the time?
Yeah, and why am I never called?
Right?
Like, do you have to go volunteer for that? It's like, I've never been given a survey that asks me anything interesting. And I don't understand how, like, you see it on the news, like, 4,000 people were asked their opinion on blah, blah, blah. And then some other story or some other statistic is they ask 1,000 people, and some other one is they ask 500 people, but there are thousands of these going on at all times, which means there's like 400,000 people who are being interviewed for surveys constantly. And I've never been one of them.
I've got an app on my phone that I thought I'd get some interesting surveys. It's from Google. So, I'm thinking surely they'll ask me something interesting at some point. No, they just track where I go. And like a day later, it's like, were you here? Yes. How did you pay? With my credit card? Every time it's like, okay, here's 20 cents to Google Play. Hey, I love that I'm getting free Google Play credit, but that's
pretty cool. Can you spend that on your on like the Google One subscription? Is it Google One? I got when YouTube became YouTube Red.
Right.
I was already paying for the monthly Google Play thing, which I think was like $15 a month. So I just got YouTube Red, which is now YouTube Premium.
Oh, cool.
as part of that. So could I take those surveys and and help pay for my YouTube Premium?
Not that I'm aware of.
Boo.
It's like different purchases.
Boo.
Like right now, I've got something like $5 in my on my
boo,
account.
Mike.
Oh, Jesus!
Boo.
You don't ever buy games or buy upgrades in games?
No.
Oh, well. Music, books.
I wish I had a face cam because it would have been obvious I was lying. I have spent way too much money in microtransactions, dude.
Wow. I try to avoid microtransactions as much as possible. Every now and then I'll get a bug up my ass and spend like $25 in a weekend on the same game, and then I think to myself, wait a second.
Why did I do that?
Yeah, if I had bought a game for $25,
what's the most you ever paid for one single microtransaction?
$20.
Okay, cool.
Which is the price of a cheap game, or a decent cheap game.
I may or may not have spent $100 on one.
Wow.
Yeah, because it was like a bunch of in-game currency, some aesthetic items that stay forever, and it was just a big pack that they had, and so I was like hell yeah, like fuck it, I play this game a lot, I'm putting in a couple hours a day, sitting in meetings, banging on this game. Like, yeah, sure.
Sitting
why
in
not?
Meetings.
Yeah, hell yeah. I work from home, man.
True.
I barely wear clothes. Of course, I'm playing games during meetings. Yet another reason why I can't say the name of my company.
Yeah. you sit at home banging on a keyboard in your underwear. We get it.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So I spent like $100 on this thing once, and
Starbucks will never want to hear you say their name.
I wish I could. I don't work at Starbucks.
I know you don't.
Oh, good. You can hear my child screaming.
Yay! You could probably hear one of my kids banging away on the keyboard in the background.
I actually can't, but somebody might.
I was worried that a fridge opening and closing about 30 feet away from me was going to be picked up. But I don't think it did.
So we're at about the 50-minute mark. I didn't start tracking it from where we marked the intro.
Well, I'm showing 57 minutes into my recording session. We've actually fairly easily talked for an hour, and I thought we were going to have difficulties.
No, we don't. We won't. We will never have trouble. You and I will never have trouble making conversation for an hour. I would like to say though that this was fun. I enjoyed having this conversation with you.
Uh-huh.
But I feel like we kind of failed to have podcast worthy conversation.
Oh,
I mean, some of it was good. We talked about, we talked about some politics. We talked about how terrible Apple is. We talked about setting up a podcast, why I was late. We talked about shoveling dog shit. It was a good day.
Yeah, I think about when we got on to why you were late, the personal interest didn't peak, but the interest of a podcast viewer might wane in that area.
Yeah.
Just maybe
wane. Yeah. No, that's fair.
But
at least for now, because I mean the first episode nobody gives a shit about our personal lives, but when we're super famous and Fresh Air is interviewing us, we can be like,
they're going to go back and listen to this first episode and go, what the fuck were these guys thinking? They were just talking about their families and what they went through. Now we got to ask them shit about this.
Yeah.
We're going to be on
you got to start
Hot
somewhere.
Ones.
Oh, I was going to tell you too. I was looking into some of the YouTube stuff. I'm going through their Creator Academy thing.
Uh-huh.
And it's pretty neat. It occurred to me that they probably have some training because they want you to be successful in a way that benefits them because, they make money off of how good your channel is.
Right.
So I was like, they probably have some training out there that, they're smart people. That's something I would do if I was running the service. So I went looking and sure as shit, there's a Creator Academy out there that has a whole bunch of content for has lots of guidelines for creating things and the kinds of things that the YouTube algorithm looks for. And
that sounds super boring.
Oh, it's pretty boring. But it's also, but it was pretty encouraging though to see that, they, even though it's self-serving for them, they still want to empower you to make them money. And so when you're making YouTube money, you're making yourself money. That's the model, right?
Right.
So, so I, going through this, I thought it was interesting. One of the things that has stood out is using profanity. So they for forever they've had the text to speech or speech to text thing where they'll do a transcription of your episode and put it as,
oh my God, what would that
viewable thing?
What would our transcription of this episode be?
It would be a transcription of us having a conversation.
But would it
just be the words we said?
I know what it should be is the words that we said.
Oh, right.
But what would it actually
It's pretty good.
be?
It's pretty good.
I remember when it wasn't pretty good.
Right. Well, they don't, as far as I know, that it doesn't even include it anymore. You have to choose that you want captions, and then it puts it in the episode like a closed caption on television. But my point though is one of the things that the algorithm looks for is profanity at key parts in your episode. So like if you have profanity in the first like 90 seconds, you're less likely to get displayed in search results.
So now that we're over an hour in, I can just cuss like a sailor.
Right.
And
something like that, I guess. Right.
Well, because, an hour in, we've lost 99.998% of our audience.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the audience that doesn't exist right now.
Right. And what's neat is the YouTube analytics stuff gives you an enormous amount of detail for, people who, you can show when they abandon your episode. You can show at what point in the episode they clicked like, or they clicked subscribe, or if they commented during the video or after they watched the video, and all that kind of detail is really pretty helpful, right? Because if you want to see how you can, change the pacing of your videos,
as long as you don't want to see who actually liked it or who actually is subscribed to your channel.
What? I missed the first part of that.
As long as you don't want to see who actually liked it, like the username of who liked it or who subscribed.
You can see that, I believe. Because I think like your private, if you as a person have the settings, like your setting, it doesn't matter. I think as an individual you can hide it, but the information is there if it's public.
Well, I mean, yeah, the information's somewhere anyways. Maybe not.
I mean, in the analytics.
Yeah.
I think it's in the analytics. So like if you go and if your privacy settings on your account are set up so that it doesn't share that information, all I will see is that a like happened and it's tied to an account. Yeah.
And actually, that's fine.
If that information is public and you click like, I will see that you as a person and I can see your YouTube profile, your Google profile, and it's like clickable. I can drill into it and see who you are, what your demographic is, and all that. Well, I think we should wrap. As we passed the 1 hour mark, and I've run out of things to say.
But we still have two more topics.
Thrashed. Oh, okay. Well, what's up then?
Let's see. We talked.
Mike?
Well, I don't actually. We talked about one topic out of 4 that we queued up.
Okay.
So, let's tackle one more topic.
Okay.
And because I'm actually really curious about where you go on this.
Okay.
The universe beyond the oldest light we can see.
So, what do you mean by that exactly? Like,
so
I have not heard a scientist even hypothesize such a thing.
All right, so I may not have wrote it in the best way. starting from the Big Bang, the Big Bang happened. We can see light as old as the universe is away.
The cosmic microwave background.
Right. So any light that's getting to us that's older than the start of the universe, there is no light. There's just background radiation, right?
Right.
So things that would have gone the opposite direction from us at the beginning of the Big Bang, relatively speaking. There may be an entire 3/4 of universe or something like that we just can't see because it's too far out from us for light to have ever gotten to us.
Right.
Is that not cool?
Yeah, no, it really is cool.
So we see billions of stars right now. We can't
way more than that.
We can't count how many stars we see right now.
So it's something on the order of on average, if I remember my numbers correctly, it's roughly 100 billion stars per galaxy, and we are aware of 100 billion galaxies. So it's 100 billion square stars.
Well, I can't see that many when I look up in the night sky, but then again,
I see what you mean, like naked eye.
With the naked eye, we see more stars than we can count in a lifetime.
Right.
With technology, we see more times than we can count in a lifetime.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
How small we are in the observable universe, and yet we may not even be able to see a fraction of the observable universe.
Right.
Or the full universe. We may not be able to observe but a fraction of the entire universe.
No, absolutely. So that is definitely interesting. I don't want to detract from that, but I want to take that in a direction that maybe you may or may not have ever thought of before.
Okay.
And this is what blows my mind. At some point, right? So we figured out through the years, we figured out that the galaxies that are further away from us are moving away faster than galaxies that are closer to us.
Right.
Suggesting strongly that there's some manner of acceleration happening there, that as things progress away from the center of the Big Bang,
as we perceive them, as far as we can tell.
Yeah, so they seem to be accelerating, and we know this because of a bunch of different stuff. But one of the things that helps us determine that is this concept of redshift.
Right.
So I'm not a scientist, and I don't want to get too in the weeds on any of that because I don't want to bore anybody, and I also don't want to say something that's wrong. But the concept there is that things are, when they move away from you, the light they emit is stretched out, and that frequency, because light is a wave, that frequency gets longer, and the frequency wave gets longer, which stretches it deeper into the red side of the spectrum.
And
so
over time, you can see
red.
How much more that shifts into the red side of the spectrum.
Right. So the faster it's moving, the deeper into the red spectrum it gets.
Right.
And so we can say very accurately how fast something is moving based on the light we see from it today, because we can see how deep into the red spectrum it is. So as a result, we can say this is moving at whatever speed. Well, and something that happens with that is eventually things that are far enough away will be moving so fast away from us that the light will be stretched so far into the infrared that they will be completely undetectable.
Okay.
And so the technology does not exist today to detect things that are shifted a certain depth into the infrared. And so, we'll get better technology over time. And we live at a time where we can see a shitload of galaxies out there, and we can see that a lot of them are heavily redshifted. So we can create these instruments that detect deeper redshift and look for things that may be even further out and so far redshifted that we haven't seen them yet. But here's the thing that's just totally blows my mind about that. Everything in the universe, all the galaxies in the universe are moving away from each other evenly. And since everything is moving away from everything else, eventually, a long time from now, there will be a galaxy that exists that's just sitting somewhere, and all of its galactic neighbors are redshifted beyond the ability to detect them. Any civilizations living in that galaxy will look out and think they're alone.
Wow.
Like, they will have no idea that there are other galaxies out there.
Assuming
like, not even the slightest idea. And because, like, we know that we should build detectors that detect deeper into the redshift or into infrared, because we can see those things. But those people will just look out and see blackness. They may never discover something like redshift and blue shift. They may never do that because they don't have the type 1A supernovae that we used to figure this out in the first place. They'll never see them because they can't see any other fucking galaxies.
Right.
So they're just going to look out and think we're special. The universe is just a void, and we live here. This is it. We're the only people.
This galaxy is it. This is the entire universe.
Yeah. And so we live in a time where we can see all of that.
Well,
we know these other galaxies exist.
Not already out there.
Well, it might be, but we wouldn't know.
Yeah, we wouldn't know. It's beyond what we can see.
Yeah, exactly. We may find it because we know that there are things that are shifted deep into infrared, so we build better infrared detectors. But it's entirely possible that there may be galactic bodies out there that we can't detect. They're just too far away.
At that point, one of the questions that comes to my mind is, do they not pursue any way to detect further than they can detect? Because
but they don't know what to look for.
Right, exactly. So they don't pursue
have
specifically something to look for, something they don't know to look for. But will they come across something accidentally? Will they even try and travel beyond what they know is travelable?
Well, and that's so what's crazy about that too. They may come up with technology, interstellar technology, where they could bounce between stars in their own galaxy. And in doing that, they would probably, you're going to get into things like, the stuff Einstein figured out with relativity, and they're going to get into particle physics and all of this other kinds of stuff that would have to exist in order for you to have warp technology. Right. And so at that point, yeah, they're probably going to figure that shit out. But even with warp speed, its intergalactic travel at the speed of light is prohibitive with time. Just the time it takes to get from star to star is incredible. And trying to go from galaxy to galaxy, even at the speed of light, we're talking hundreds of thousands or millions or billions of years of travel time.
Now, imagine they come up with some sort of controllable wormhole technology where travel is
instantaneous from
almost
one position to another position. Yeah.
And they accidentally create a wormhole, regardless of the energy requirements that this would take, but create a wormhole into another galaxy that they can't even see. They go through it, see that everything's different, including stars in the sky. Nothing is recognizable. Do they recognize it as they have traveled just through space? Or do they suddenly think they have discovered a totally different dimension?
Right. My daughter's. I gotta go.
All right.
We gotta leave here in just a few minutes to go to a dinner thing. So,
Well,
Lucy, what's up? You're ruining my podcast, ruiner.
well, until the next topic.
Yeah, until that's a stupid out. Your outros suck.
Until the next topic.
I hate your outros.
You love my
Just say
outros.
bye. Just
Well,
say
fine.
bye and we'll end it.
Bye, John.